We are going to have my review on the EPZ Q5 Pro and their new dongle, the TP35. Thank you so much, EPZ, for sending the units. All thoughts are my own. Didn't really pay me. Come on, man. Like, I haven't heard someone who is getting paid for a review. It's like a very big slap. With my job, I earn more, and I'd probably say no if they, give me money. I'm doing it for fun. Yeah, anyhow, let's take a look at my review here. But first, I always put every earphone in different price categories. And if you want to see or know how I score sets, check the video description right here. I'm going to divide the video in different parts. First, I'm going to talk about the tonality and everything about its sound. And then with the comparison. So yeah, let's start with the box. Actually, they have a big box here. It feels like you really, I know it's just paper and stuff, but it's a good unboxing experience. You get everything you need, as you may have seen in the unboxing. Nice accessories, good cable. I like the cable actually. I mean, they're tangly, but I like how industrial it feels, if that makes sense. Fit is fine. Probably the design is just a little bit different compared to the previous one, which had some issues because of, like cupping the Mies design or something. But yeah, no problems with the fit. It's fairly easy to drive. So let's move on to the tonality. The tonality on this is, let me just pull up the graph here, Q5 Pro. It looks like this one. As you can see, it's pretty balanced overall. A little bit of emphasis on the upper mids, but it's a very big improvement compared to the original Q5, wherein it has a noticeable peak at 5K there. But all in all, it's not, I wouldn't say it's identical in sound, but I really think it's an improvement in terms of timbre. It's more engaging and it's not really fun to listen to, but it's more, you kind of like remember the sound of it. The tonality is very good, and it kind of reminded me of the Let's Shower S12 2024s. I mean, the graph is a little bit different there. I know the graph is a little bit different, but because of that, that like my target balance target, I specifically chose this kind of glide because for me, it sounds more natural for my ears. Like the sub bass and the glide to the mid bass, and not really too clean in the mids, and then a decent rise. As you can see there, the Q5 Pro does have a little bit of emphasis in the upper mids, but this graph didn't really make sense because I don't really hear any peaks, or maybe I'm just deaf to this to this area here, but like there's also a peak there around past 10K. I also didn't hear that. Well, maybe the treble can be improved, but I didn't really feel any spike in there. In fact, the tonality on this, I think it's really good. So for tonality, I think I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna give the tonality a 3 on this. So tonality 3, it's really engaging. It's really fun to listen to. Not fun like bass head level fun, but it's just very immersive. It's just very immersive. So moving on to the bass, I feel that the bass just has enough balance of sub bass and mid bass. I didn't feel that it was lacking for my target. I also didn't feel like it was too much. It's just enough, really. Good sub bass reach. I mean, the sub bass just really complements the overall signature, because again, the signature in this is pretty well balanced. It's not neutral. It's also not V-shaped. Well, maybe a V-shape, you call it a V-shape, but for me, I call it just balanced. So for the bass, I like how it, it's not too slow, it's not too fast, it's just right. And it's pleasing to listen to. So I'm giving the bass a 3. Moving on to the mids, I mean, with the graph and with other sets that are graphed similarly, sometimes you would feel like, the vocals are a little bit recessed. However, that's why I thought, like in this case, the graph didn't make sense because the vocals are actually a little bit forward, not too forward, but they're not in any way recessed. So they have good presence, especially female vocals, good energy. Well, maybe because of this area here, the vocals may sound a little bit nasal. Yeah, I felt the mids are a little bit nasal sounding for the females in some pitches. Say for example, like from Avril Lavigne's, I thought that her voice was a little bit nasal. So probably that's why this peak here is what's doing it. For the other instruments though, they sound really fine. The guitar sound okay. They're not really aggressive. They sound fine. Drums, they sound okay. Just only that nasal character when they reach a certain pitch. So for the mids, I think I'm giving it 2.5. I just changed that. I actually scored it 3 before, but now remember about the nasal thing from Avril Lavigne, so I'm giving it 2.5. Treble is, again, it's an improvement over the Q5, but then again, I didn't really feel that there are peaks. I didn't find it glaring. Very good timbre on cymbals, actually, so I thought this peak here past 10K would, you know, do something, but I'm not sure if it's a coupler peak or just limitation of the driver, but I really thought that the cymbal timbre was fine, but I know it could be improved. Maybe still bring that a little bit down in there and remove that nasal character to the vocals. And yeah, so the treble, I'm giving it 2.5. I thought it needs a little bit of improvement. That's just my personal take on that. I mean, I think a lot of people will not have problems with the treble, but me just being critical of it, I think it needs a little bit of improvement. Technicalities, again, because of that immersive nature of it, the spacing on the vocals and the instruments are fine, and it's surprising for a DD. And I noticed it with the EPZ sets. I mean, starting with the EPZ G10, let me just pull up the graph here. The G10. When I heard the G10 from a friend, I thought, wow, this is amazing. That's the graph there. A little bit different, so a little bit of emphasis there in the 5K region for the Q5. And I thought like, wow, EPZ, when they tune sets, they have this character to them that they're really good at layering. I'm not sure if it's their drivers or it's just the way they tune, but they're really good at that space or layering or stage depth. They're not really super wide, but the depth on how the EPZ sets are tuned to, they're pretty fun to listen to. And so that's what I thought with the other sets, but with the Q5 Pro, it's just more noticeable. That stage depth is more noticeable. So there's a more perceived 3D space. I know it's psychoacoustics. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's different for you. I really think that it's really fun. It's really immersive. So the text on these for the price. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is priced around $50. I'm gonna give comparisons to different sets that are priced probably under $60. But yeah, text on this, I'm giving it a 3. So that's a total of 14. Yeah, 14 for me is an S ranker. So this will go to my rec list there in the sub 60 rec list. So yeah, good job EPZ. It's a really great sounding set. So moving on to the comparisons. What I have here first would be the original Q5. The original Q5 is a tad brighter around the upper mid, so now that's irrelevant. I think there's no way for that to exist. I don't know. If someone prefers upper mids, then probably get that one. This one is just the Q5 Pro is just safer to buy, more appealing to listen to. Timberly, it's also better. So yeah, that's what I think about both sets. The Q1 Pro as well. This is cheaper. This is priced around $30. So the Q1 Pro is a little bit leaner in the bass. This sounds more neutral. But yeah, I don't know why that I'm comparing. Maybe because of the same brand, but I think that the EPZ Q5 Pro is much better than the Q1 because it's just more immersive and it's just more engaging. The Q5 Pro is just more engaging in that regard. So, but if you like a neutral set, then maybe you can consider the Q1 Pro. Another one is the SimGot EW200. It's pretty close actually. There, see that? But again, you might have noticed that the EW200, a lot of reviewers, including myself, think that the upper mids is too forward sounding, and it's because of that bass there. There's not enough bass to compensate for that gain, and even if EW200 doesn't really have a lot of peaks in the treble, but still, that bass there is a difference. You know, it's not a day difference. So I think that the sub bass on the Q5 Pro really helps a lot with balancing out everything. For me, I think that the Q5 Pro is better than the EW200. Interestingly as well, another SimGot set, which is, can you guess? It's the EA500LM. Look at that. Oh my god. See that? It's like, man, it's almost like the same set, except for that peak in there. And what's funny is, the comparison between the EA500LM and the Q5 Pro, like the channel matching is better than the Q5 Pro itself. because my set actually has channel imbalance. It's noticeable for me. So EPZ, I think you have to, I mean, like, your set is really good. I just think that you should, I mean, I've never had bad channel matching with EPZ sets before, but this one, this is like 1 to 2 dB difference. It's noticeable. I mean, don't spoil this release because of some channel imbalance. So up your QC, okay? So that not a lot of people will have, you know, bad experiences with your set. So going back, so the EA 500LM is much more expensive, and I think that considering you get a good matching set, I think the Q5 Pro is the one to pick because it's cheaper, it sounds more correct sounding. I did hear some peaks actually on the I remember with the EA 500LMs, I remember I'm hearing some peaks. That's why this graph here on the Q5 Pro really doesn't make sense because it looks really aggressive with the graph, but on listening it's pretty good sounding. So yeah, those are my thoughts about the Q5 Pro. Leave a comment down below if you want me to compare it to other sets that I might have forgotten. But yeah, next one would be their dongle, the EPZ TP35. I'm not really, I mean, I don't really review a lot of sources because for me, the difference is very small. I do have some dongles here sitting for measurements and stuff. I have the Apple Snowy White and the Do 4X from SimGot. But again, the TP35 is priced around, I think it's also around $50. Now, what's special about this one is it shares the same DAC chip as the Snowy White, as the Yuki. It's a very popular dongle. I mean, the chip now, the CS43198. I noticed that this chip is really smooth sounding, but it depends on the implementation on like every manufacturer, because with the Snowy Night, it's a little bit warmer. With the Yuki, it's really clean with really good perceived 3D space. Now this one here, just because of the price, I think this is the dongle to pick on a budget. Or maybe if you want to venture onto dongles, this is the dongle you can buy because it has 4.4 mm, it has volume control, and the volume control works independently, meaning that if you attach it with your phone, because some dongles, like when you change the volume here, it also changes the master volume on the source, but this is independent, so meaning you can turn each volume from the source and the dongle independently, and I like that. I like that kind of implementation. It has enough power to power planars. I tried it with the S12 2024s, but so far, I mean, like, not going on to the specifics of the sound because again, the changes are very minute, but it's there. Of course, the Apple Snowy Night and the other dangles that are priced more expensive, they sound a little bit better. But again, this is priced at $55 and the performance is like 90% the same, 95% similar. It looks cool, it's small, it's handy with this transparent glass here that you can see the internals. It's a nice dongle to have. But with the difference in sound, if I were to talk about the difference in sound, I would say that this one is more linear because the Snowy Night is warmer. This one is more linear. It doesn't really, I didn't notice any boosts in the treble. Probably a little bit of boost in the upper mids for that vocal forwardness, but maybe only that. The bass is also really clean sounding. Enough 3D, I don't know, man, like this is maybe just placebo. But yeah, TP35, it's a good dongle to check out. I'm not sure, check other reviews what they think about this dongle, but I really think it's a solid choice. Very linear sounding dongle. Yeah. TP35 Q5 Pro. I tried both in a combo and it's really good. It's really good. I mean, if you can get them on sale on the 11/11, this might be a good buy. But yeah, goodbye for now. See you in my next video.